Hello everyone, Voodoo here. So I've had a few requests from people to go over kind of the first few bosses as like Mythic POV, Havoc tips, stuff like that. And we've killed the first 5 now. We're currently progging on Zaqali. So I figured it'd be time to go over the first half of the raid, give you guys my thoughts as a Havoc, what you can do, what builds you can play, stuff like that. So we're gonna start off with the first 5 in this video. I'll do the last 4 whenever we get to them, hopefully within the next few weeks. So first boss, Kazzara. Now the Kazzara fight, not really too many specific Havoc tips here. I'm going to just mute this and let it play in the background. So this build, what you want to do, oh I didn't mute it, there we go. This build, basically what you want to do in this fight is you're going to probably play the Restless Hunter build, and I'll just throw it up on screen. So that build is going to be really good. Now, I'll skip ahead, I was too far ahead there. I'm going to skip ahead into the action. Alright, so we'll just go here. It just cuts to 59%. Anyways, so as I was saying, the Restless Hunter build is probably going to be the best one here because it lets you get your damage out way up front. Straight Glaive build can work, but the issue with this fight, and the thing that's going to really kind of hurt you, is just going to be uptime. The thing with Kazzara is that there's a lot of random things that really force your downtime. Now, one little tip. So the strategy we use is we kind of start the boss off here, and then we slowly kind of rotate them around the room. Also, I can see here neither of my death sweeps crit, which is very unfortunate. Both 126, so you hate to see it, neither crit. Very, very unfortunate when that happens. Your DPS is going to be bad. But really, there's not too much. I would recommend just kind of fell rushing through your target and all that stuff, playing Restless Hunter build, and just keeping as much uptime as you can. For all the knockbacks, you generally have enough ways to keep uptime. You can fell rush back in, you can hunt, you can Hellblade. There's a ton of things. The real thing that's going to get you is going to be the waves, right? Is like the beams that have to target you. So I think the best way to do that, obviously you can control when puddles go down if you can, but try and pre-position yourself near a melee puddle. It's probably going to be your best way to end up just doing the most damage on this fight, just because of how detrimental it is to get targeted, right? So here I have to run out and I drop a lot of uptime there just to try and be like a really safe placement. My placement's pretty good. You want to try and place them so that there's no waves in front of, no puddles in front of the one you're going to. So these placements could have been a bit better, but it is what it is. Realistically, there's not too much damage that goes out. The most damage happens during the dot, the wing knockback dot, and then if somebody brings a beam over another wave. And that's the mythic mechanic. So if a beam crosses one of those little puddles on the ground that isn't active, it does a ton of damage. So during that moment, if it happens, I would recommend dropping like a darkness or something. So these here, not placed very well. We keep cycling in new people on these fights, just like trial them and stuff like that. So, you know, sometimes everything's not the cleanest, but it is what it is. So anyways, there's not really a ton for me to talk about on this fight. I also don't think you really need too much of a specific Havoc tip. I would just play Restless Hunter. Again, try and do as much uptime as you can. Hopefully your thing double ticks. Hopefully you crit both your openers. But if you know something's going to go over a beam, just call it out. Drop a darkness, drop a personal. That's going to be when a lot of the damage is happening, especially when it overlaps with the knockback dot. Otherwise, just try and position yourself near a puddle already so that you can kind of claim that one and be in a good position so you don't lose too much uptime. You can also be in a place where you get knocked back against the wall or something to like lessen knockback like reduction there. But overall, not too much to really say about this fight. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and is a pretty easy one. So we'll go over to Amalgamation Chamber next. Here we are with Chamber. Now on this build, this fight, I think you can play the Straight Glaive build if you want. I personally would just probably play Restless Hunter again. In game, Restless Hunter definitely seems to perform way better than the Straight Glaive build actually does. I have a video going over reasons for that if you want to see it. But this is it. So I'm put on fire side. If you can, melee should preferably be put on the fire side. The other side, the void side, is a lot more like mechanics that will mess with your uptime than fire side does. Fire side has like one, purple side has a few. So if you can, if you're a raid leader, you're just getting here, try and put as many of your melee on fire as possible. If you have 2 Havocs, you want to put one on either side. If you are the only Havoc, you should go throw glaive the other one and then come back over here if you can. Or, you know, just be put with the side with all the magic dealers if that's better. So, you know, that is good to keep up. We have 2 Havocs, so we just kind of split them, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you have 2, you do want to make sure they're split so that you end up getting the debuff on both sides. Again, I'm on fire here. We just lust on pull. We absolutely blast and burn down these guys. I would recommend lusting on pull. It minimizes the amount of time you have in this first phase. I do think this first phase is the more dangerous of the phases. I think whenever you get into the next phase, not a ton actually really happens. So, you know, you don't really have to worry about it too much. So again, I'm playing Serrated Glaive here. I'm unsure if this is the right choice. I think Restless Hunter would do really well as well, but this is one of the fights where Serrated Glaive does do very well. Most of the top logs are like 50-50 for this one. So the important things that will kill you here are going to be those tornadoes and the shadow orbs whenever you have high stacks. So this stack here, you see on my screen, like right here, it's showing how many fire stacks I have. Also, this orb, if you have a paladin, you can just solo soak those apparently, so we just never worried about it. But this stack here is just like a ticking fire dot. The shadow one is a ticking shadow dot that also decreases your max HP, so that kind of sucks. So basically, we just lust and nuke down one side, and then we end up getting it down to, we swap at like 13 stacks. At around 13 stacks, there's like soaks and orbs that go out. So we wait for that to happen. So you see here, it's going to happen, goes off here. I don't soak it because I don't need to. And then after that, we go and swap. So I meet on Diamond with the other Havoc, so he comes in there. Now, important, you have to watch out for those orbs. So those orbs will certainly kill you. So I'll go back 10 seconds. So we go here. I don't want to miss too much. So these orbs that spawn as we're coming over, those orbs will kill you if they tick you, especially when you have both dots on them. So I clear with the other Havoc there. Now my fire dots are ticking down, and they actually will run out. So the main mechanic here is that the dots have infinite duration, and the only way to clear them is whenever you end up swapping, and it's going to put a duration on them and tick them out. Now at this point when you have both dots sticking on you, it's probably the most dangerous part of the fight, so I would defensive there. I would save Darkness for later in the fight, but this is going to be when you're in a lot of danger, is at this point in time. So again, nothing else too seriously like specific about Havoc here. Just kind of DPSing these guys down. Then, whenever one of them hits 50%, I think they're going to phase roughly together. It's like 50 and 52 or 50 and 51 or something. They're going to end up putting this shield on them. Mechanics still go out. You get this big circle around you to do damage, so just kind of wait till those blow up. And then the big ad's going to spawn with the combined HP of the other two ads. Now, you could lust here. I would still recommend lusting first phase so you get out of it quicker with less stacks going into this. Because we hear everybody's stack here is ticking down now. I think this wasn't our most recent reclear. I think most recent reclear we had like 3 stacks in this phase, so it wasn't that bad at all. And now you just get a bunch of mechanics. Again, not too much you can do if you get targeted by them. You just got to get out and play good. But one Havoc specific tip I would put here. Also this is the Mythic Mechanic. So Mythic Mechanic, he puts out like Star Augur debuffs. Just spread for these. They do a lot of damage around you. Spread, find your marker, just clear it. Not that big of a deal. But one thing, besides getting these soaks, which Havoc is quite good at, is during the big soak, just put your Darkness down. That's kind of going to be the best place to do that. You know, I'm just doing my rotation naturally. Not a ton of Havoc specific stuff here, so just throw Darkness down here. You can keep a lot of uptime on the boss as you run out. You don't have to just Fel Rush away. I Fel Rush through to get like Fury and stuff like that, but the boss went the other way, so whatever is what it is kind of sucks, but you don't really have to do that much to kind of just keep uptime here. The only thing that sucks is targets you with the bomb. Obviously get that out. You don't want to wipe your raid. And then the other thing is just those little soaks. Again, you just go chase those down, but those aren't too serious. So that's kind of this boss. Again, not too hard of a boss, pretty easy. Nothing really too specific for Havoc here. But, you know, either Restless Hunter or Serrated Glaive would work. And then make sure you're spreading out for that Mythic debuff would be the best way to deal with it. Alright, so here we are at Zaqali Assault. Now for this build, you should play Spread Eagle. Now Spread Eagle is really good in this fight. It does a decent amount of single target damage and tons of burst AoE to the ads, which is how you do like the most damage overall in this fight. Now there's 2 lust timings. If you're trying to pad, your CD timings will be a bit different. I think if you want to kill this boss, you're progging. I think you should lust P2. If you're not really worried, you can lust P1. But if a lot of your players are like AoE ad padding, you might run into some trouble in P2 and actually killing the boss. I think that actually happens in this kill. We lose some people. One side's slow to get here, and we end up having like half the raid die, and it takes like much longer than it should, but whatever. So this fight is pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. So you see here, I'm going to hold my CDs on pull. If you're trying to pad and parse, I would recommend doing that. You'll see I can do like crazy bursts. So I just use the Hunt, I use my Serrated Glaive, I use my Chaos, the Blade thing, Glaive Tempest. I set my meta and all that stuff. Everything else I'm going to hold. So boss's HP in P1 doesn't matter too much. He's going to phase after a little while. He jumps down, I think it's like 20 seconds or something. He'll jump away. So whatever HP you get him to means you just spend less time in the left-right split phase. We're down to about 60% here. Again, this was a clear from a little bit ago. And we go over, and these mystics actually do a lot of damage. So whenever one of these is up, it's always going to be your top priority to kill it. So you got to kill this thing, get the shield down as fast as you can. So I have a little timer here ticking down how much HP it has. These wall climber adds do nothing. These rocks can fall. I'll pause and show you guys whenever they come up. That you can throw down the walls to stop base from coming up. But again, if you're trying to pad, you don't really want to do this. They don't do anything. You just need to make sure you're stopping them from getting to the door. So just make sure your tank tags them. Otherwise, they do nothing, and it's just pad, right? So at this point here is when I pop my CDs just for the most possible AoE damage. And you can see I'm actually going to end up bursting for a ton. I think I actually way shoot into the air here. Yeah, look, I'm doing over 250,000, 200 whatever thousand damage here. Now, none of that damage matters at all. I just blew up an ad set for no reason. But, hey, parsing is parsing, right? But again, these things, it doesn't really matter. This fight's not that big. So you just get ad waves. The guards are your second priority after the mystics. Guards, then huntsmen, then wall climbers. And always prio boss over prioring the ads. You do want to get out of this phase quicker than normal. So the ads are, the boss is dead. Mystics up here, so we just target it, drop all of our abilities and stuff, and just pop into it. And around this time is when the boss jumps over from this platform. So I was on the near side rather than the far side. Far side, I don't know. I've never been over there. I never progged there. But see, the boss jumps over now, so we're still breaking this thing. And the boss will jump down, do his little AoE. And as soon as the boss comes down, you want to swap over to the boss and just pump it full single target damage. Now, at this point, nothing else really happens in this phase. It's just kind of rinse and repeat. So we're going to skip ahead a bit. Okay, wait. Actually, we'll go back. So these, remember the boss does a slam? These are the rocks I was talking about. You can pick up one of these rocks and go over to... See how here there's a little glow? You can bring that rock over there and use an extra action button to kind of throw it off and stop the wave of ads from spawning. But again, not too big of a deal. You can kind of just skip it and not really care. But, hey, is what it is. So we'll skip ahead here. There's a frontal. So boss has phased here. The boss jumps in the middle at 25%. And I don't know why, but my tank wouldn't bring these things over. So we ended up staying here a lot longer than you're supposed to. I don't know why we did this. We should have brought these to the middle. But the boss ended up healing. So if I can just go back. So you see when the boss jumps over and does Immolation. You're going to jump into the middle now. And he does this thing, Desperate Immolation. So this is going to heal him up to roughly 40%. And at this point, you need an Mortal Strike effect on the boss. It's just going to make the last phase way easier. So if you don't have an Arms Warrior doing it, then you want a Rogue to do it. Now, we completely missed it. All of our things were here. Rogues can do it, Monks can do it, and Hunters can do it. Nobody had a Mortal Strike on this boss for this one, because for some reason we were over here in the ads still. I don't know what happened there. The call was to stay here. That was a bad call, but whatever. As a Havoc, if you have nothing else in your raid to do it, then you can pick up the Mortal Strike effect we have. I would drop Looks Can Kill for it or something. You just take that point out and pick up the Mortal Strike. Maybe you could drop out Fury Generational point either, but I would just drop Looks Can Kill and pick up Mortal Dance. Now, Mortal Dance sucks. It's not very good. It's good because it's an AoE one, but against this fight, it actually doesn't even last the whole time of Desperate Immolation. But if it's the only thing you have, I would recommend taking it. If you have a better one, though, then don't worry about it. So, we get over here right as his frontal's happening. So the boss in P2, or 3 or whatever, has 2 mechanics. He does this big frontal slam, which just went off, and then he's going to target everybody with these little things like that. And he's going to jump into the wall. So we have the far side going first, because close side just wasn't here. And the boss is at super high HP because he healed all the way up. So you generally don't want to do that. So I'll show you the next little cycle. There's, again, nothing too specific for Havoc outside of this. You will end up getting your second meta TD set here. Now, if you cared about killing this boss and you needed this damage in P2, so here, because the boss was so high, if we hadn't lusted pull, I think we would have lusted now. But you can lust this phase. All your CDs will come up during it. It's around 3 minutes in. So lusting this phase and just blasting this boss down is going to be a good way to kill it. Now, so he does that frontal. He does all these soaks. And then everybody has to go to the door and soak it, or else if there aren't enough people at the door, he's going to kill the entire raid. This is a great darkness point. Really good darkness point. See here, we have a damage taken thing from it. And then you just kind of burn them down before the next one happens. You will die if you take 2. So the point of this here is to just burn them down. This fight was just a mess for us today. No one was doing anything properly, but it is what it is. So again, just burn down the boss before it reaches that point. Nothing else too specific about Havoc. So you can see here he's going to jump and actually kill another half the raid. And then we ended up getting him down. So boop, kills half the raid because they already soaked it. So their half was just kind of get him down to 0 here. So that was a very messy kill from us. I don't know what happened there. But that is that boss. Not very hard. Pretty doable. Alright, so this is experiments. Now, I would really recommend having 2 priests for this, first off. Having massive spells makes this fight really good. So a tip for this that I'm actually not good at myself, we killed it a few times, and I have not gotten better at this. If you can, you do want to end up delaying your I-beam by a little bit, because pretty much what you want to do is you want to I-beam on pull and you want to hunt on pull. You want to hold your meta, you want to hold any like long cooldowns, you want to hold your potion, you want to hold lust until the first and second boss are both out. You want to lust then and just slam. On this fight, you do want to play Restless Hunter. It's going to be like the most damage for you, basically. You can play a cleave build if you want, but there isn't a lot of this fight that's cleave. The first and last bit are not cleave, it's pure single target. And then during it's just during the middle phases. So the idea with this fight is you almost always want to just prio down the boss that's lower. You do want to do a lot of cleave to the second boss. It's important to get the second boss down as fast as you can, because the longer that boss is up, the more of the orbs are going to go out. But I'll just hit play here. So the first phase is pretty easy. We have 4 markers set up here, kind of in a line. So we start in, I hunt in on pull, I use my anvil trinket, hunt in, yada yada yada, do everything, and then I just do my I-beam combo, and I save potion, I save meta, I save all of that. So these roars don't do any damage, you can just kind of soak these. I'd recommend popping a personal on the second one, because you'll normally have like a tank debuff then. So if these charges happen, so I get a charge here, so you just go over to the marks. You don't want to stand too close. Those two are really close, they might double tick each other. Yeah, they did. But you can get rid of bleeds really easily. Evokers can do it, paladins can do it. Otherwise, this first guy does not do that much. So you do want to have your cooldowns up for whenever the second guy comes out. If you're going to lust, you want to have your raids hold cooldowns as much as possible for then. So this roar I pop a personal for, or maybe I pop it after. I don't know. I normally pop blur there, but you don't really need to. So this fight isn't that complicated at the beginning. And then whenever the next boss comes out. So he comes out at 50%, and that's when this fight gets complex. So these are still going on, and at the same time you have to deal with the second boss's mechanics. So we lust here. We kind of just pop everything. I save my I-beam so I can hit both at once. Here, though, it probably would be good to just save a little bit longer just for bombs, but there it's pretty fine. So I have bomb on me, so they're going to dispel. Normally we dispel on coin. I just end up staying on boss here because the charge kind of goes over that way anyways. And then the way to do a ton of damage on this fight is to cleave all the adds and all the bosses at the same time. It's going to be very important to do so. It gets very hard to do so later on. And often, the dispel timings, it's good to learn them for you and your raid group. So there, we dispelled and I I-beamed early, so don't do that. So you want to join, I could have held I-beam for like 3 seconds there and ended up getting a lot more damage with it on all 2 bosses plus the orbs. It's going to be the important thing. To do the most damage here, also, I don't know what happened there. My buttons just didn't go off. I just essence braked into the void. Don't do that. I was tired on this fight for a long. We were raiding for, I think this was like the end of the day or something. But anyways, so this guy's at 48% now. Boss is coming out, ads are coming out. So I hold my I-beam here for all the ads and everything. I tick them down. You go over it. You just want to slam into them. Our tanks aren't doing the best job getting it so it's cleavable, but like whatever. And then this fight, basically all you're doing is just cleaving down this boss, killing this boss as fast as you can, and then cleaving down these small ads that happen. So here, he's gonna like breath over all these. Also, my weapon thing went off. I didn't even notice that. Leaving all those things, we stay in the middle, we go over here, we just kind of blow them up. Fight's like not too complex. The big thing for Havoc is literally just like delay your buttons by a little bit. So we're gonna mass spell during the middle of this. This one I probably wouldn't have delayed for, because that's probably too long. But if you're going to dispel within like 5 seconds or so of your I-beam coming up, I would just honestly wait. So I ended up waiting there for everything to blow up. I don't know what happened. Oh, I put my weapon stone back on mid-combat. That's what I did. That's funny. Don't do that. So we kill this boss down, and then it's going to get pretty easy. So these orbs, you don't want them to hit the boss as much as you can, because they do just ticking damage. Now, I'm just standing in here with this because, like, I don't know. I want to hit the boss. I want to do damage. But you do have this thing around you, so try and be like max melee range. Try and just be off to one side and not move as much as you can. And then try to just soak these orbs so they don't go in and hit the boss. It's going to be very important. They boo a like 20% HP shield. So just get in between it. I would recommend just not moving whenever they come out and just kind of letting them hit into you. It's going to be like the best way since they do damage. You can probably take up to 3 stacks as a Havoc. Otherwise, you know, don't do much more than that. So really, it's just going to be about keeping uptime as best as you can, cleaning out all those orbs, and just kind of doing damage to the bosses. Again, there, probably should have kept my combo for a few more seconds so I can do more damage. But it's all just about doing as much uptime as you can, making sure those orbs don't go in, and just kind of doing the AoE damage. Those orbs, the Dispel orbs, whenever they're down. Alright, and finally this brings us to Rashok. Now, Rashok is a fight where everything's going to kill you. It hurts so much. The last few slams do basically your entire HP pool. You need to have defensives for them. So, I would recommend actually playing a different build. So you're going to play a Restless Hunter build. Everything on the right side is going to be the same. I ended up playing Chaos Theory for our kill. I don't think it's that good. Basically what happened is I got like 3 pulls where I didn't crit either of my opening Restless Hunters, and I got annoyed and swapped to Chaos Theory because it's more like consistent. Again, I wouldn't do that. It's just high roll with Restless Hunter. It's going to be better for you in the long run. Chances are you'll crit at least 1 of 2 Restless Hunters, and it'll be like a little bit better. But hey, is what it is. So here we go on Rashok. On the class tree side, things have changed. So I've dropped a lot of points out to pick up Soul Sigils, Demon Muzzle, and the one talent that gives your soul shards more healing, or soul, whatever. You heal more from your souls. And I think these things are pretty essential for Rashok. Now, I also have the 5-minute darkness, because my darkness was only assigned once. So I went to pick up the longer duration, because it helped while we were clearing debuffs. But honestly, this fight hurts a lot. Now, the fix to make it so the waves don't insta-kill you by double or triple ticking when they weren't supposed to makes this fight a lot easier. It means you'll save a lot of prog time from like random deaths to just waves coming through. That's good. That's a good change there. But let's just get into it. So you want to say rip everything on pull. You want to just use Anvil, use the Hunt, use I-Beam, Bomb if you have it. I still don't have it because I'm an unlucky lad, and such is my plight. But you basically just send everything on pull, do as much damage as you can. So the main mechanic here are those orbs. So those orbs are going to come up, and you have to slam one of them with the thing he does with the jump. Now those jumps do a large amount of damage to everybody, and then also increase by 25% for each jump he does. So by the end of the fight, they're doing 550,000, 600,000 HP. So you need defensives for them. Now the group slam he does doesn't hurt too much. He puts this dot on you that you have to go clear. This doesn't happen during P3 anymore, so at the final stage of the fight, he no longer throws out those things. And this is the other important mechanic, so I would pop a defensive for this if you have one, either using your Sigil Flame, which you should be using as a defensive in this fight. You need to save this for large hits, such as the slams, later slams. You can kind of just live the first phase, just naturally. Later slams do a ton of damage. Getting hit by the dot does a ton of damage whenever you soak, which you do want to do if you're healthy. Honestly, I don't think the group soak does a ton. I wouldn't personal here. Just have whatever your raid CDs are planned for, and then just clear this dot. But there's just so much damage going off. I would also recommend holding, I think the second hunt cast, you end up hold it, or maybe like the third hunt cast, you hold it for one of the slams to help you live. But really it does so much damage. So I put my Sigil down there to just kind of do a little bit of a DR against this third slam here. It's 8%, it's better than nothing on top of our magic resistance already. It's, decent enough. The frontals are whatever. And then from here, we go into the interphase. Now, this is whenever he feels energy, so you want to milk him to 99%, and then bring him into the middle. And oh my, does this hurt. So he's going to do these pulses. Now, the lines on the ground will kill you if you stand on them. They're not too hard to avoid. Each time he pulses this damage, it's going to do more and more damage to you. So you're going to have this dot ticking up. Now, normally I try to use both my defensives in this phase. You can get away with not using Blur. However, I would really recommend using Blur in this phase. Things get really hairy, really scary, really quickly, just because of how much damage goes out. So, maybe early on in your prog, try and use Blur there just to live. But later on, you don't really need to. It's not too much of an importance. Because you do need Blur and you need the Sigil of Flames for these slams. So this slam goes here. You want to try and keep the slams all in one area, and that did a chunk of damage. It was like half my HP. Now I'm keeping Blur for the next one. The next one is when they start to hurt. After about 4 or 5 is when they really start to absolutely just slam you. So use your own healing to try and live through everything else. The only things that will kill you as a Havoc Demon Hunter in this phase is either just ticking down because your healers are kind of falling behind, or those slams. Those slams are going to be deadly. So this fight I will just leave on the whole time because I want to just talk through it, because I want to show you guys the final slam. Now that one, a range should have done. I think it was kind of weird that I ended up taking that, but whatever. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. I'll show you guys this next slam. So I actually didn't have anything for this slam. I probably should have saved my meta to meta immune it. So this one I just live natty. I use the hunt to just kind of go through it after. But after this one, things start to hurt. So it's calling for personals here. I don't have my personal up. Again, I don't think this slam is that dangerous to Havocs. I think the most dangerous thing that's going to happen for you is going to be either the clears, the dot from soaking, or the slams. The later slams will just murk you. So we're coming down here. We're going to get one more slam here. So this is the third one. So this one's doing, I think, over 100% extra damage. This one's on me. So this one hurts. So if you ever get targeted by it, I would recommend using a personal. I didn't have one there. I glaved my demon down to live there, so it healed me back up to full, which was really useful. I should have just essence break there, so, you know, whatever. This is our first kill, so my damage isn't anything crazy. And now we enter P3. And oh boy, do things get crazy. So here we are in P3. So P3 is the last phase of the intermission. You get 2 of these, and then you just have to kind of burn the boss down. So we do this last one. It does a lot of damage. You just kind of live here. I would recommend using Blur kind of off the rip instead of waiting a little bit longer. I probably should have done it off the cuff there, because you want Blur for the second and third slams in P3. First slam, you can live just with Sigil of Flame, but second and third, second one you want Blur, third one you want Blur and Sigil of Flame, so it's going to really hurt. So here we are, and things are going to slam. So you want to throw Sigil down roughly a few seconds before he ends up jumping, so it actually goes off on him. So throw it down there. He has the debuff on him. Boom, dealt 3/4 of my HP with my like 25% resistance to magic damage plus the 8% there. That hurts. I use the hunt here to kind of live through the group slam, just for the leech. I use I-beams just to leech off the group slam as well. And at this point, you are hurting because this dot is not clearable. So P3 is absolutely a damage nightmare. So we get pulled over to the side here. I think I'm looking to take one of the soaks that I can. Yeah, I look around. If people are already in the other ones, try and have range, get them if they can. So we send that. And here we go with Mythic Orbs too. These ones hurt. So we personal here, and we have our sigils or whatever. Our priest do the thing where he can like reduce our CD. So we personal here. Everybody just lives it. So that's with my Blur defensive. We do that. We just live it. It does a ton of damage. Boss at 8% here. This big soak also really hurts. I think we have the other darkness comes down here. Spirit Link comes down here. We're just trying to live. That's like the last big group soak of the fight. And then we go into the very last thing. So if you have people living this last slam, so as long as we don't just drop down, you can see our HP ticking down from all the dots, whatever. But this last one hurts. So I didn't have Sigil of Flame. I should have kept it, but I didn't. So I had a demon down. I glaive demon on pull. We ended up having that. We had Devotion Aura. I had Blur up, and still so many people died. But we ended up killing them. We were ticking down at the end there, but we killed Rashok. That's what matters. And that's a very close fight, but very damaging. It's important to just kind of use your defensives there on the slams whenever possible. You want to liberally use your Blur. You want to try and have it up for the second and third slam in P2. Sorry, P3, also just die. And use Sigil of Flame as a defensive. It's very important to do so. Otherwise, the damage is just like way too much for you. That's going to be my commentary on the first few bosses as Havoc Demon Hunter. Really, there's nothing too specific for Havoc. I do think Havoc has some very specific things you can do in the later fights. But on these first 3, there's nothing too crazy. On Rashok, I didn't mention it, but there is a certain overlap where you can meta immune. So you can meta immune the very last slam if you end up just skipping the first Annihilation and I-beam, I think, or you can like if you use meta like almost directly on pull, then you end up getting it for the very last slam. However, you know, you don't need that to live. I just blurred with Devotion Aura and we ended up living it. But that is something you can do. Anyways, that is going to be my coverage of the first 5 bosses. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I am still out camping. I will be back within a few days here on Friday and can answer any comments then. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Just a little commentary on the first 5 fights as Havoc Demon Hunter, how to get the most damage, how to live certain things, make certain strats and stuff like that, certain builds. I hope you guys found this useful. I will be back with Friday on another video, probably another one over the weekend as well, just, you know, a bonus little video. But if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you drop a like, drop a comment, and hit the sub button as well to help support me. So with that, I will have another one of these later on whenever we end up killing the entire raid. I'll go over all my thoughts and everything. But for now, this will be me saying adieu. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace. A big thank you to my channel members 121, Pain, Zach Ward, It's Bulk, and Flapjack67. You guys are amazing and help me to put out this content that I do for all you guys. If you want to become a channel member, there's a link in the description. You get access to a ton of cool perks, exclusive emotes for comments and live chat whenever I stream on YouTube, as well as a ton of other things, and just get to help me make better content. Once again, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.